Hello and welcome to the February 1st Fridays um, for McEntee Law Group. I'm Dan Rock. I'm going to go through a few updates from the week or the month and answer a few questions that we've had. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. And if I can do so, I will try to answer them. Um, I guess I will start with some updates on the week. First, I'd like to say happy Groundhog Day. If you're unaware, Punxsutawney Phil saw a shadow or did not see a shadow. I forget which way it works, but spring is supposed to start earlier this year. So congrats on that. Let's get into the warmer months as soon as possible. And good news, USCIS, or rather the Department of State, has begun its H-1B visa renewal pilot program that allows for H-1B visas for certain H-1B visa holders from Canada or Mexico or Canada or India to renew their visa while within the United States. That program started on Monday of this week. As of yet, I haven't heard um, any reports of it going horribly wrong or um, the process being particularly cumbersome. So it appears that it is moving along pretty well, at least in its early stages. Again, that's USCIS for the next 5 weeks are going to allow up to 4,000 applicants to renew their H-1B visa within the United States if they meet certain criteria. So if you think that you may be interested in that, I would encourage you to look at the Department of State website. And I've previously done some videos on social media about that. I believe they're on TikTok, if I remember correctly. So check that out. The next big piece of news is USCIS has provided some guidance on the H-1B cap registration period for the H-1B cap for fiscal year 2025 that is scheduled to start on March 6th of this year at noon Eastern time, ending on March 22nd of this year, also at noon Eastern. That is the period to register for the H-1B. There have been some additional changes to the H-1B cap registration period. The guidance that they put out has changed a little bit from what they had recently told us on a training session for the new registration system to allow attorneys and their clients to work together. But the H-1B cap registration will be beneficiary dependent. The the registrations will need beneficiaries' passport information, and the cap selections will be based on the individual beneficiary. This will cut out some of the gaming of the system that has occurred in the past years. I think last year there was at least one registrant that had uh, over 70 registrations for the H-1B cap. So this is a positive sign, and people that are kind of playing by the rules should do much better in the H-1B cap this year. More applicants should be taken by people that have legitimate interest in a particular job. So we welcome that change. Kind of on the negative side is it, along with that H-1B fees and a number of filing fees are going up this year, in some cases quite dramatically. The H-1B fee is the filing fee is going up to $780 just for the I-129 filing, and then the related H-1B fees um, are also still attached. For O1 petitions, it's going up even more. It will be over $1,000 to file an O1 coming up after April 1st. Um, and also in that vein, premium processing fees are going to go up starting February 26th of this year. The new um, premium processing fee for your I-129s, I-45s, that type of case is now going to be 2805. There are some slight variation in premium processing fees depending on case type. So for other case types, in certain situations, the premium processing fee may be slightly different. They are going up as well in keeping with inflation. So certainly speak with your attorney to discuss what the appropriate fee is moving forward. In connection with that, USCIS has moved the premium processing time from 15 calendar days to 15 business days. So that essentially adds a week of processing to the premium processing time. Again, in some situations, it's absolutely necessary to file with premium processing, and there's no way around it. But the service has definitely been degraded slightly while increasing the fees. Um, Moving on to some additional information that is happening at the US borders. The Supreme Court allowed the Biden administration to remove razor wire that is on the um, Texas and Mexican border. There's kind of been a bit of a standoff between Texas and the federal government by a 5-4 margin. The Supreme Court did confirm that the federal government has the right to remove that wire that is in keeping with the federal responsibility over immigration processes. So that makes complete sense. The USCIS has also issued additional guidance on um, the the when a person can file an extension, or when USCIS will approve a untimely filed extension. They updated the policy manual to provide details that for them to approve extension, it's got to be extraordinary circumstances outside of the control of the person. So they did provide examples of what would constitute that, which include but are not limited to where the delay is due to slowdown or work stoppage involving a strike or lockout or other labor dispute, or in a situation was related to lapse in government funding supporting those adjudications. Um, that kind of goes into my next point, which is earlier this or earlier in January, rather, the Congress authorized another temporary funding that will run into March. So, again, for the month of February, we expect all government services related to um, immigration filings to continue on as normal. Uh, and assuming the government is funded beyond that, they will continue on as such. Uh, if there is a break in government funding, most USCIS case filings will continue in their normal fashion because USCIS is largely supported by the filing fees that people pay. But there are Department of Labor cases are not fee supported, so there would be a stop in, um, for example, perm applications or LCA approvals. So that is something to keep in mind as we move through this period of uncertainty with government funding from month to month. Um, Certainly, we'll want to keep an eye on that and make sure to file LCAs and that sort of documents ahead of time. Let's see. Do we have any more news updates? Sorry. Um, I will take an opportunity to mention McAtee Law Group has a number of upcoming webinars. There is one on the K1 visa uh, for Valentine's Day. So that one's going to be on February 14th. There's going to be one on the H-1B cap registration that I will be doing on February 21st. There's going to be a webinar on visa options for musicians on tour. That one's going to be on February 28th. That one will be great for bands that want to take advantage of the summer concert festival situation. So be sure to register for that. And then as we move into March, we will have a webinar on Irish citizenship on uh, March 6th. So moving on to questions, I see a question. Has there been any update for the E3 for Ireland? Unfortunately, no, there's been no movement on that. I know uh, year before last year, moving into last year, there was some hope that there would be an E3 carve out for Ireland, but as of now, there has been no movement on that. Another question. Is it easier for UK citizens to get H-1B as opposed to someone from another country, such as China or India, where there are backlogs on the green card case? No, the H-1B program does not have the country specific limitations that green card cases do. So the fact that there's a lot of H-1Bs from India or China don't really help or hurt someone from the UK when applying for an H-1B visa. Um, so, if next question is, if my husband is sponsoring me for a green card, would it be a problem to do our taxes married filing separately? Again, this is a point where I want to stress that each individual case is specific to the people applying for a benefit. And while I'm a lawyer, I'm providing information for informational purposes only based on limited knowledge. So individual cases may vary from the general guidance, but generally speaking, there is no requirement that you file married filing, how you file your taxes. But I would expect to be able to explain that to uh, a consular officer or USCIS officer why you file your taxes that way. That they will look at your case holistically. So that is something that you will want to have an answer for. That being said, I would certainly speak to an immigration lawyer about this and other issues to make sure that there's nothing that no piece of information that I'm missing that would change my answer for that. So, moving on to another question in that vein, my green card only has one of my two last names. All other IDs have both last names. Can I still travel or do I need to correct it? Again, this is a situation where, um, this is going to be very specific to you and your application. I think that generally speaking, I wouldn't expect you to have problems with that, but I could see a situation where, based on specifics of your individual case, a lawyer may suggest correcting it before traveling, or not traveling um, while your name is listed with that variation. So again, that's something that I would certainly speak with your lawyer and see if it is worth effort to get it corrected, or if you want to continue on with it as it is. The next question is, I'm working for a US company in Ireland since September 2023. After a year, am I eligible for an L1 visa to transfer to their headquarters on the East Coast? So this question kind of would require kind of significant in-depth analysis. Um, L1 visas are available for people that have been working with a related foreign entity to a US company in a specialized knowledge position, or a managerial role in coming to the US to perform either a managerial role or specialized knowledge role within the US. Um, it does require a year of employment with a foreign entity, and time spent within the US during that time will not count towards that year. So if you're coming on B visa, on B in B status to, for business meetings or to sign contracts or something that is allowable under B, that time will not be counted towards your employment abroad. So keep that in mind as well. Um, I have a related question. I'm interested in L1 status, and I've been promoted multiple times. So none of my jobs have been for a year. Am I still eligible to apply for an L1 visa? Again, it is going to be specific on your situation. Um, you can uh, use multiple jobs as long as all of the jobs either are managerial in nature or meet the specialized knowledge requirement. You can't mix between, if you had one job where you were using specialized knowledge for your company, and another where you were managing people, but neither of them add up to a year. You would need a year in that particular type of job. So that is the caveat that I will lay out. And that looks like all the questions that we have for the day. So I am going to move on to a fun little hypothetical that my colleagues gave me for Groundhog Day, and that is, could Puxatani Phil qualify for an O1 visa under um, US immigration law? So, the O1 visa is for people with extraordinary ability, either in the arts or in business. So, um, with Puxatani Phil for the O1 visa for the arts, um, you would look whether it would fall within that definition, and you could kind of stretch the definition of what is the arts to include cultural traditions and performances. So, Groundhog Day could be considered a unique artistic performance. So Um, it's a performance that has kind of international acclaim. You would have national recognition for Puxatawny Phil. There are numerous publications about him in major media. He does play a leading or critical role for the Groundhog Day tradition, being the groundhog to see or not see a shadow. So he would meet there. High salary. This would be a criterion that the groundhog probably wouldn't meet because it doesn't receive remuneration. So, um, being as he doesn't receive a traditional salary, you would uh, probably have some difficulty showing that he meets the salary requirements. Um, Judging the works of others, I guess if you're really stretching, you could say he's judging the work of nature. So it would be a decision to um, you could make an argument that he's judging the work of others, but in this case, I would say without three other strong criteria, I wouldn't want to rely on the judging the work of others criteria. And then you would look to see if he's received recognition from organizations, critics, or experts. I would say he has. Weathermen constantly look to Punxsutawney Phil to see um, whether or not he sees a shadow and whether or not there is going to be the 6 more weeks of winter. Um, so uh, taken as a whole, I think that there would be um, three categories that Punxsutawney Phil could meet. He probably has also won some awards. We would have to look to see how prestigious or not the awards may be, but you could look at awards he has won as well. So, with that, I'm going to conclude that when Chekhov saw the long winter, he saw a winter long and dark and bereft of hope. Yet we know that winter is just another step in the cycle of life. Just like sometimes when we wait for immigration benefits, it does seem long and dark and bereft of hope. But we here at McEntee Law will help you file your expedite requests. And it is just a part of the cycle to try and get you the immigration benefit that you are seeking. So, with that, follow McEntee on our social media accounts. Um, Again, I'd like to remind you about our upcoming webinars. We have a lot of them coming up over the next month. So, the K1 visa for the lovebirds out there, that's going to be on Valentine's Day, February 14th. The H1B cap season is coming up. That will be on February 21st. Visa options for musicians. It may seem early to get started on that, but the summer will be upon us before you know it. That is on February 28th. And then as we move closer to St. Patrick's Day, we will give a webinar on seeking Irish citizenship. That will be on March 6th. So I hope you've enjoyed the First Friday updates this month, and we look forward to talking with you in the future. Thanks. Bye.